Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be showing you my sketchbook. I'm here in California, as you see. I'm here on spring break vacation, and I'm going to show you some of my drawings I've been doing since March. Ever since when I was a kid, I've always loved drawing, and I've also loved animals too, because when I was young, I thought kind of wanted to be like a vet or zookeeper or zoologist, like one of those kinds of people. But mom and my grandmother thought that with all my talented artwork, they thought I could be like a children's writer or illustrator or animator, like do movies and shows. And this is a drawing of a Pegasus I did. And you see he's flying through the air, and I did different colors for the feathers here. And here are some of my other drawings I've done. Here's a dog here. I didn't get the color of the grass though, but I drew a tennis ball and a bone and a teddy bear for him, and I drew some dandelions, a wooden fence. And here's a woman here in springtime. She kind of looks a little bit like Cinderella in certain ways. I drew some various flowers on the ground, a cherry blossom, and here's a gazebo. And she's holding a rose, and she's wearing blush and lipstick. And I made her kind of have some like Marilyn Monroe hair. And here's another drawing I've done. It's a snow leopard sitting on top of the mountains. And I drew some flowers, some moss and grass. And I drew some snow on top of the mountains and clouds, since this is taking place in the Himalayas, which this is either taking place in either China, Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan. And also I drew some yellow eyes for him, which is a bit of a detail many cats have in real life. And I drew the underbelly and some lichen and moss on the rocks. Oh, and here's a chameleon I drew, which I got the idea because I had a Webkin chameleon who was blue with yellow stripes, and I thought about drawing him catching a fly, which I thought about drawing that later. And here's a drawing of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and they're about to eat the forbidden fruit. There's the serpent in the tree, and there's Adam and Eve. And I drew Eve having long hair covering the bra, and a branch covering, and some other kinds of plants, like tall grass covering Adam's front area, and a tree branch covering Eve's front area, because if this was like a children's book, kids wouldn't like to see that stuff. And here's another drawing I've done. A herd of elephants. Elephants have always been my favorite animal when I was young. Ever since when I was a baby, I've always loved elephants. They're such incredible, majestic creatures. And they're pretty intelligent too, which I drew a mother and her calf. And there's a whole herd too. There's a big bull, a young one spraying water from watering hole, and there's two others in the distance, which this here is taking place on the savannas of Africa. And I drew some details too for the elephants, like some wrinkles on the trunk and the knees. And here's a mother bear and her cubs. See, the cubs are trying to catch salmon. And again, another detail, which I drew the muzzle, and I drew some waterfalls and some moss. And I drew some various kinds of trees too, like pine trees, birch trees, ferns, some berry bushes, and I drew a little squirrel on the tree branch, and there's the little cubs trying to catch the salmon, and the mother bear watching her cubs. And here's another gorgeous picture, a pride of lions on the savannas of Africa. There's the young cub, who kind of looks a little bit like Simba, and he's trying to catch the little bug, and I drew some bones here at their resting area, and I drew some other animals in the distance, like zebras, elephants, giraffes, gazelles, rhinos, and some birds flying in the air, which I made some silhouettes, which I colored for these animals here, But the zebras, because I didn't color those in because people wouldn't recognize them if they were all black. And here's another picture taking place in Africa. A mother giraffe and her calf, and it looks like the mother giraffe is bending down to kiss her young. And there's some bushes, some trees, and there's the watering hole, and there's the sun, and there's some other giraffes in the distance, which I'm guessing they're part of a herd. And here's a tiger here, which I drew some insects like butterflies, and here's a little caterpillar, some vines, and there's a temple pillar, and there's some coconut trees, and over here there's a little gecko if you look closely, and there's some flowers, which this is taking place in the jungles of India. And here's another beautiful picture I've done. Here's a clam here, starfish, some algae, and also I did drew a sea anemone here, and here's a snail shell, and there's some brain coral and seaweed, and there's lots of other sea creatures like crabs, clams, dolphins, sea turtles, dolphins, swordfish, jellyfish, seahorses, pufferfish, grouper, angelfish, clownfish, and octopus. Can't forget those. And here's another great portrait of a person, a Native American chief in the American frontier. I didn't drew like the whole tribe, but I drew like the eagle piece that's going on his necklace, and his crest he's wearing, and there's his teepee and totem. And here's another animal picture I've done. Since Earth Day's coming up, I made the giant panda. There's a mother and her cub, since pandas are a symbol of conservation, which this takes place here in the mountains of China, with a mother panda eating bamboo and her cub just like playing around with her mom. And here's another picture taking place in Africa. A Maasai boy, which I went on the internet to look up like clothes of like what these tribal people wear. Like I've done some coloring and some jewelry on them. And I made his shield, which these tribal people wear. And there's a shepherd with his cattle, some women in the distance carrying vases. There's his hut, his spear. And I hope you really like my sketchbook, because when I grow up, I thought about being like an animator or illustrator, or like a writer for kids' books, or movies and shows. And again, subscribe to my channel and comment below. See you soon.